Welcome to the 24th episode of the Wag Tales podcast. I'm smiling a lot to start this podcast off because I'm seeing a face that I haven't seen in person for quite a while. And we are on Zoom, so we're not in person, but it's just so nice to connect. I've got my friend David here. Welcome to the podcast, David.
Hello. I don't know if it's good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, because it's 10 a.m. here and it's 8 p.m. there. So kind of
This is
difference.
correct. So you're joining
Yep.
me all the way from Spain. But interestingly, we met all the way in the Middle East in Palestine. I have seen you in Australia before as well. And maybe next time I'll see you in Spain.
That could be great.
It could be a good
Inshallah.
plan.
Yeah.
So to start the podcast off, I'm going to ask you, what are you most excited about at the moment?
Being with you right now,
Great
because
answer.
because because as I was explaining to you before, it's always a pleasure to share positive stuff, your commitment with your ideas, your philosophy, and when it's about to share it with the world and with people kind of close to you, it's always a pleasure, and it's also a fantastic way to catch up with you after so many years, because we can say years. So I'm pretty excited
Yeah, thank you
and
so much for
happy.
making the time. To be honest, you were on the list when I first decided to make a podcast. I was like, who could I interview? Who could I talk to? Who have I met that is doing something cool, inspiring, in the themes around what I like to talk about on the
Mm.
podcast. So you were on my list, and I had no idea, what you were doing even
No.
now. But the reason you were on my list is because when we met, and this will be interesting for people to know, we both were volunteering in Palestine at the time, both as teachers, but you were also on a bit of a journey at the time with your laughing backpack. So would you like to tell everyone about that project that you're working on?
Of course, of course. So we are talking about 2016, maybe
Yeah.
a
Yep.
long time ago. So yeah, I was traveling the world with this crazy project about the laughing backpack. The first idea was to travel like to 11, 12 countries, I don't remember exactly, to make a documentary about laughter. My idea was to look for laughter everywhere, to see how it can change people if we all laugh of the same stuff, if we all laugh or not, what is the place of the laughter in the society. So I decided to travel from September to September with my backpack, and I went to an incredible journey by myself. And at the end, I didn't do the documentary because I'm not a tech person, so it was kind of a huge stuff. I have hours of rush of videos that at some point I would use, but I wrote a book. It's kind of a nice selling here in Spain because the French version couldn't have any kind of echo, but the Spanish one did. So I'm pretty happy about that. And it was an incredible journey because I met a lot of incredible people everywhere. I was kind of scared at the start of the journey because traveling by myself with my poor English to many countries. I made a selection of countries which I like or which I wanted to discover, like Russia, for example. It was on my list, but I was not very kind of excited and happy to go. And then I went 2 times, so that went pretty well. And it changed my life. And it sounds cliche, but it completely changed my life because after that, I kept on traveling for 2 more years. I discovered clowning. I discovered clowning as a humanitarian one, as a social one. I discovered the power of the clown language, because in many cases I couldn't speak any language. In China, for example, there is no I don't speak Mandarin, and they barely not speak English. So laughter and clowning was the great connection. So that's one of the things I discovered, and I took with me, and I still use in my daily life and work. And it also changed my way of thinking, and what I decided to study again, and where I decided to live. So there was a before and after this incredible adventure of the Laughing Backpack.
So cool. So many ways we could go here. But I think people might be listening and be like, clowning. Like, is clowning just, some guy dressed up with like a wig on and a nose, like in a costume? What is clowning?
What is clowning? That's a big question. I always had a special connection with clowning. Even after the world tour, I discovered that when my family organized my 18th birthday, the theme was clown, and I was like, really?
Mm.
I didn't remember that. And I discovered when we had to clean the family house that I have posters of clown and statues, and I was like, I always did love clowning, and I was kind of surprised. But the clowning I discovered because I've been connected with clowning here in Spain, like back in 2008 or something, and I was not ready to, because I'm also an actor and a comedian, so clowning was one part of the scenic life that I wanted to discover. But back in 2008, I was not ready to jump into the clowning because you have to be naked, you have to be full of respect for yourself and ready to show everything of you, even the stuff that you always try to hide because you want to be perfect, you don't want to accept your nose or your belly or whatever. So at that time, I was more into the comedian side of my life. Like, look at me, I'm so funny. Or look at me, I'm so whatever. So I was not ready to be naked and to be true, actually. So I had a little connection, but it was not good because I wanted to. I also wanted to make it perfect, and clown is everything but perfect. So it was in one side of my head, and I left it for years. And when I started to travel again with this project we were talking about 2 minutes ago, I really had a perfect connection with clown, because I had a perfect connection with myself. I was traveling by myself with very few money. I was not into having stuff, but being with people, enjoying time. That's also why in my journey I was staying about 4 to 5 weeks in every country because I didn't want to have like a little spot and oh, a picture, Taj Mahal, perfect. I'm checking the places, you know. I really wanted to feel the connection, to understand people, to live, to try to live with them, not like them, but with them. So when I was in Uruguay in South America, I had a clown workshop, and I totally understood what was the clown spirit. So I really started to get naked again and make fun of myself. I was almost 40, so I was also ready to be more in love with yourself, because as soon as you are in love with yourself and you know what you are, and the good and bad thing that you have, you accept everything like a whole thing. It's not bad or wrong, it's you. It's just the way you are, the way you move, the way you think. So I had this special connection, and after that I went to Chile, and there I went to another workshop of clowning, but it was a social clowning. It was a hospital clowning, and I didn't know that because I always, when I see something that I like, I just decide to go, and then I say, oh, it was about that, and I discovered on the way what the workshop was about. So it was a 3 days clowning, and on the second day she said, okay, so I think you are ready for the hospital tomorrow. And I was like, the hospital? Where are we going to? And everybody knew but me. All the trainee was there to go to the hospital, and I was not. And even if we spent 2 days eating and having dinner and having beers and working together, I didn't realize that it was about hospital clowning. So I was pretty stressed and was like, I don't want to go. And the teachers told me, but you've been preparing yourself for 2 days. I was like, no, I've been playing for 2 days. I was having fun with my pals for 2 days. And it was a game. And she said, that's the spirit. You're ready to go. So we went by two to the hospital. We were all together, like with the clowning stuff and everything. And then we had to go to the rooms by two, and I went with an amazing guy, and we are still in touch. And so we went to a room, and there were two kids, like a kid and a teenager. And I was scared. I was so
Mm.
scared. But just before entering the room, he said, "Have fun, be respectful," and that's it. And all the, because clowning is also being back to your child's spirit.
Mm.
Like when you play a game, you're not doing as you are playing a game. You are really into the game. Like when we decide to, and now I'm the cowboy and you're the Indian, and we can imagine this is our house and this is our weapons and whatever. So you come back to this kind of pure way of playing because you are into the game and you just want to have fun. And we entered this room. There was the kid and the teenager. With the kid, it was pretty easy. because as soon as he saw us, he was into touching and the nose and the noises we could do. But the teenager was like, okay, make me laugh. It's like, a clown, really? I'm 14. I don't want to see clowns. So it was like a challenge for us, and there is like a social contract about clowning. Everybody knows that you're someone strange, you're a fool, you're someone different, but everybody accepted it. So it's almost like anything that you're gonna do is gonna be okay. You're not sure that it's going to be funny or not, but people are going to accept. So, for example, if I get close to this teenager with my regular clothes and being like David, the guy's going the teen is going to tell me, who are you? Why are you in my room? Why are you even speaking with me? I don't know you. I have a treatment. I'm sick. I don't want to speak with anyone. But if you the connection is through this kind of full strange person like the clown is. There's like a pre-contract, like, okay, you're strange, you're not inviting my space, you're kind of doing a strange thing, but I accept you. And
Mm.
then the connection is easier, and because you take the teenager with you in a very strange space and land. So um, as David, I cannot ask, oh, this is your medicine. What are you taking? What drug is that? What is your sickness? Because it's very delicate, and I don't want to be entering this zone. But as a clown, you can start to play with the string, whatever is taking, or is that what is that? Is that a drug? Can I take it? No, no, don't take it because it's dangerous. So it's creating a very nice connection, even with elderly people. When I was in Russia, sorry, I'm jumping from
No.
one story to another, but it's kind of a connection right now. And when I was in Russia, because I had the incredible opportunity to work with Patch Adams for 2 weeks in Russia,
Mm.
an incredible clowning tour. And at some point, we went to an elderly kind of hospital, and I've been dancing with a 85, 86 woman. I've been dancing with her as a clown, and it was an incredible connection because I entered the room. I don't speak Russian, obviously, and she doesn't speak English. And she saw me, and I was kind of trying to dance like a foolish one. And she said, "No, no, no, no! Like this is not how you dance." And she took me, and she was very weak on her bed, looking at me like, "Oh, another clown is gonna happen, whatever." And she saw me, and I don't know, we had this kind of strange connection with, like, just by looking each other. And she took my arm and she took me very kind of a real tango dance or something like that. And suddenly she was 50 again, and we started to dance. And I was kind of still doing the clown. Said, no, 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 like you have to be serious because this is a dance. And she took me, and we've been dancing for, like, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes or something like that. It was like for 20 minutes for me. And she was a woman again. She was strong, she was young, she was happy, she was romantic, she was incredible. And after the dance, she went back to her bed, and she was weak, but after the dancing, like after 1 hour of training or whatever, and she
Yep.
was so happy. And I could have that because I was a clown, so I was not a stranger anymore.
Yeah.
Most of people love or hate clown. There is no middle. It's like, oh yeah, it's nice, it's funny. Oh wow, it's a strange thing. So I hate it. But there is no like middle kind of feeling for clowns. But everybody knows it. Everybody
Mm.
knows what is a clown, or the this kind of image of, okay, it's in my mental world, so I can accept it, and it's way easier to reach people,
Mm.
especially when the communication is very complicated because they are sick, or because they don't speak your language, or because they are in jail, they are in a refugee camp. It's always a little air pop stuff that comes with nothing, with a little bit of music, a little bit of sound, a little bit of, but it's always easier when you don't speak the same language, because we are using the laughter language.
Mm.
It's a very strange, if you don't experience it, it's very difficult to explain. But I can tell you many stories about the connection I could have with refugee camp men who was more worried about having food and having a clean place for their family. And they because when you talk about refugees, they don't have time to, they're surviving, they're not
Yeah.
living,
Yeah.
and they're surviving for their family, especially parents, men and women. So they think of basic stuff: being safe, having food, having water, being warm, and being secure. That's it. They
Yeah.
don't have time for pleasure, for leisure, for they even don't remember what it said. So when you can give a glimpse of 5 minutes of
Mm,
these magic moments, even men that look at you at the beginning like, really, and but then they give themselves this little space of not happiness, because this is a big word, but like of real life
yeah.
for
Yeah.
5 minutes. I forget about my surviving, and
Mm,
I'm just allowing myself to be a human being for a little moment, even if it's
yeah.
just for my kids to enjoy, because also the kid, if they see that I'm enjoying, they will also enjoying, and this is also part of the surviving, to protect your kids and give them these little happy moments, even for 5 minutes in a refugee camp.
Yeah, yeah, and we're seeing like I don't know if people are following, but if you're looking at social media at the moment, we're seeing glimpses of things like that happening in Gaza at the moment, where there are
Of
groups that are
course.
playing with the kids or doing some clowning or just entertaining them, even just for a split second.
Yeah.
Just yeah, just when they're in that really awful survival mode, but they're getting those little glimmers of just 5 minutes of positive emotion.
And
Yeah.
then it's infinite, the power of clowning, and also of circus, because circus has also the same kind of tools. I've discovered a lot of social circus,
Mm-hmm.
especially one in Turkey, working with Syrian kids. And it's incredible, the lot of values that circus can give to these children.
Mm,
First of all, circus give like a family structure, because they are all together all the time and playing and creating numbers, whatever. But also it's if you think about psychology, for example, if you use the stents, is it stents, this kind of long legs of wood that you put under your
oh,
legs,
stilts.
stilts.
Yeah.
The stilts, it has a magical effect. For example, if you take a little girl from a refugee camp, like the case I'm talking about in Turkey, of 6 7 years old, the first time she sees someone with the stilts, she's like, wow, is it a giant, is it a monster? But then she understands what is it, and the day she tries and the day she can do it is a very powerful message for her, because it's something that her father cannot do, because he's not trained, he's not a circus man, so he cannot do that. So suddenly she's a little girl in a refugee camp, maybe in a country like Turkey, where women has even no rights. So she's able to do that. So for her, the first powerful message is, I can do that. My father can't, my brother can, but I can. And then it's about position. In 2 seconds she's super high, and she sees a vision of the world changes, because she used to see the world from the down way of it, and
Yeah.
suddenly she's up, she's above, she can, the vision of the world changes. And
Mm,
it's just with one tool, and circus is full of that. That's why it's, for me, it's also magic. And in the last decade, many people have been thinking of the combination of social skills and social circus and emotional power, and everything is combined. And when you're conscious of it and you use it as a tool,
mm,
in education, in mental health, in emotional background, it's impressive, and there is almost
yeah.
no limit about that.
Well, that's why I wanted to talk to you a little bit in this podcast as well, because you've touched on like sort of the humanitarian clown or using it in a humanitarian sort of way and with
Yeah.
that lens. And I know now you've also studied further in this field, art therapy, doing
Yes.
so much
Yes.
work in this space now as well. But before we dive really deep into that stuff, I do want to ask, what did you find out about laughter and humor? Is it
I
universal? Do we
Is
share the
it?
same?
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's universal. The laughter is. I think it's, when the basic needs are filled, like eating, sleeping, and drinking. um, there is laughter after that.
Mm.
All the countries that I've been, everybody love, and
Yeah.
almost the theme of, if you jump into humor, um, even the subject, the themes are always the same. It's always making fun of myself, of the neighbor, making fun of the difference, and also making fun of the things of human being that we don't understand, but it's
Mm.
always kind of the same. Um, there is a big difference that I've realized, that in our countries, like Western countries, humor is more a product. We go to see a showman. We watch funny movies, but it's already a kind of a product. It's
Mm.
of course in our daily life. But if you go to African countries, for example, or Indian countries, where life is more struggle than a real life, it's more about surviving than living. Laughter is part of the daily life.
Mm.
Um, African people are always laughing, always making fun of everyone. When I was in Kenya, I was trying to find laughter everywhere, and in the family I was hosted, laughter was everywhere, all day long. Women were laughing, even preparing the food, cleaning the house. um, I had this kind of impression that in Western countries laughter is a product, and in less rich people, let's say it like that, it's also a tool to survive.
Mm.
You,
Well, I'm
you
sort of
use
curious about that even further because I mean, I'm very much in a Western country, worked with very Western people, but I've always worked with people who are experiencing struggle.
uh-huh,
So young people who, like you kind of said at the start, we all laugh once we've like slept, eaten, have shelter, those basic needs. But I've worked with kids who maybe don't have those needs ticked off every single day. And I
uh-huh.
feel like in the work, we laughed probably more frequently than I would with my friends or I would, in a mainstream high school. So I'm wondering if it's maybe something to do more with struggle than it is just Western culture.
Yeah, and also laughter is about, when you're a kid, you laugh when you don't understand something, when there is
Mm,
something new. That's why, especially say that when you're a kid, you laugh, I don't know, 5,000 times a day, and
yeah.
when you're an adult, you laugh 50 times, or maybe less. And we all think it's about, oh, because now we are serious and we are adults and life is difficult, and whatever. But it's more about discovering and being
Mm,
surprised,
mm,
because when you discover the world, everything is new, everything is, and this is also the clown philosophy. So I work with 2 3 years old kid every day, and as soon as I do something new, something they don't discover, something that they haven't seen before, they laugh, because
yep.
this is the reaction of something is happening. I don't know what it is, but because they are not scared, because they are not they are not into valuing, or trying
Mm,
to understand. They just discover something. It's like, oh, what's that? And they laugh. So the base of laughter is being surprised and discovering stuff.
mm,
And so, and then you keep it when you when you need to express something that you cannot express with words. That's also why we, when someone fall in the street, the first reaction is to laugh, and then it's, oh, maybe something wrong happened, but the first reaction is always that. And even of yourself, it's kind of the best medicine
yeah.
to use daily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why a lot of professionals who also work in challenging spaces like bond over laughter. Like there's kind of we always mention dark humor and the colleagues I've worked with in those spaces, like we've bonded over pretty dark humor. And it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it's
of
it's a
course.
coping tool.
It's a way of surviving, of
Yeah,
course.
because if you don't laugh at some of the things that you see or that you work with, you are going to feel some pretty heavy emotion around it.
And it's also a distance. When in your work, you struggle with very complicated situation, with family issues, and even worse. If you don't use laughter for that, there is no protection. Then you come back home and you have all these problems with you, and the more problems you have, the less you can help people. And it's kind of a filter. When I've been clowning like almost every day for long period, people were asking to me, what about your life when you go back home? Because you've been talking with a woman with cancer, with a lot of disease, with dying kids, with dying people. How can you be happy when you go back home? And actually, these short moments that you have with people in a hospital room is like a washing machine. You're not going to change their life. You're not going to change their condition because you're not a magician. You wish you could, but you can't. So you only know that for 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds, you can give them a little smile. And that's a lot, even for them. So it's like you enter the room, you take all the sadness, because it's not only the sick person, it's also the parents, the family, the hospital members, the nurse, the doctors. Everybody needs that.
Mm.
And it's like you take all the bad stuff, you put it in the washing machine, you laugh for 5 minutes, and after that, for maybe 10 minutes more or 20 minutes more, this bad thing has became a nice thing. You're not changing the reality, but you gave this opportunity to change the focus for like 5 minutes, and that's magic. And the same for you. I still have in my memory all the faces of the people I've been working with, the smiles, the I will never forget them. But I remember their smile, the laughter, the sound of the laughter, the music of the laughter, and most of the time, I don't want to know when I enter a room what's happening. I don't want to know the condition. I don't know. I don't want to know if they are very sick or not, because otherwise I can enter like being a clown. Because otherwise I'm going to put my mask off. Oh my God, poor thing. He's 4 years old and he's very sick. And it's not about compassion. It's not about oh, little thing, I'm going to help you. Because if you go this way, and it's the natural way of doing it,
Mm.
you're not going to help. Because, and especially kids and elderly people, they feel it. They see your look. They know. And if you and they are used to it because they see their mother, the doctor, the nurse, always with
Yeah.
the same look of, oh my God, I'm so sorry, he's not going to survive. So the less I know, the more I can help in a genuine way and in a healthy way, you know.
I really like that, and I'm going to be a little bit nerdy here, because I have studied emotion and positive emotion,
Uh-huh, I
yeah, like
know.
in my positive psych course that I've done, and so even what you're talking about, is actually really healing and beneficial, even if it is like very brief. So there's this thing called positive resonance where we just have to connect with someone very briefly and have a positive experience with them, which could be as small as like a smile, like sharing a smile
Mm,
with someone, but you're actually going further and you're like laughing and you're really bonding in that time. And there's actually huge benefits for the brain and for physical health. So the impact you're actually making, it might feel really brief, but it has a ripple effect and it might actually make their whole day just a little bit more bearable. Their
mm.
coping mechanisms will be a little bit stronger for that day. Their idea of like possibilities and resources that they can use will expand a little bit just from like a little bit of positive resonance is actually a really big thing.
And also because of the hormones you create when you laugh. Even if you fake laugh, it works. That's why
Yeah.
there is this
Like laughing
incredible.
yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met this incredible Indian doctor in back in India, which is the king of laughing yoga. And the base, it was a doctor. He has nothing to see with laughing. But he discovered that even when you fake laugh, you create these hormones. Or I'm not a science guy, so I'm always inventing everything. But you liberate this hormone, and
Mm,
it, well, as you said, maybe for 5 minutes or for 5 hours. And
yeah.
even if you fake it, that's why they have a lot of they have a routine in laughing yoga about starting to do ha 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 ho ho ho, because at some point, even if you fake it,
Yeah.
at some point it's going to happen, really happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's kind of crazy that this kind of very free and quick routine to have in our daily life, that we could do. I mean, we have many routines for diet stuff, for using the apps, for many things. But if we all had in mind that even for 5 minutes I can be in my bathroom and looking at myself in the mirror and starting to make straight crazy faces, and even these 2 minutes of what am I doing, And even that, it's very healthy for all of us. When I
Mm,
spend a day without laughing, it's like, oh, what a strange day, as Chaplin said. It's because it is something that we really need to, for
yeah.
everything, to connect, to understand, to clean, to even the word thing, or when you had a kind of a strange situation in the street with someone because you've been fighting for your bike or whatever. If you go home and you have 5 minutes to say that was ridiculous, I was ridiculous and getting crazy and insulting, and this woman was also ridiculous. And even if you try to clean it and you use this filter, you feel better, and you don't have this new charge on your shoulders.
Yeah, I love that. And I really like what you said earlier as well about how in Western society, it's almost like we saw laughter as something like that we can buy or something that is like it entertains us and we laugh. Whereas like really what you're talking about is that need to be playful and silly, like and allow laughter to come through play or come through connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is so much more beneficial.
And we really need to I also I have a couple of drama groups with adults. We train every week, like 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, to do improv. And it's also about taking the mask down. We are very used, it sounds very cliche what I'm saying, but we are very used to have always a mask, always a way to behave. I can say that, I cannot say that. A lot of labeling. I'm French, so I have to be like that. I live in Spain, so I have to live like that. So there is many, and you are so used to accept all these roles and all these masks that you have, that you are not even conscious of it.
Mm,
And we are so afraid of being ridiculous, so afraid of being ridiculous with the IT problem that we could have, with the way we speak, with the way we wear, that it's so healthy, like even one time in the week, to be yourself, to get free from the own judgment, because many times the judgment comes from you. I'm not good enough, I'm not. And with the adult group that I work, the basis to be yourself and to play, just to have fun, just to because playing as a kid, it's not about finding again your inside child and whatever. It's just come back to the essence of playing. And if I want to play fully with you, I have to be fully myself, and not a version of me. And I know it's helpful to have this mask and this labeling, because we live in a society where I can I'm teaching, so I also have relationship with parents. I
mm,
cannot go to a parent meeting with crazy clothes and just singing and sitting in a strange way. I have to be also a teacher in
mm,
my own way, because I cannot be something else. But I know the codes, because it's also about, and I want these parents to trust me, because I'm working with the kids all day long, and I don't want them to be scared or to be afraid, because who's this guy? So of course we need these rules and codes and whatever, but not all the time. And the worst thing is that when they are so inside yourself, that even when you are with your friends, with your family, when you are home, you also have to go on with these kind of labels, and it's kind of impossible to live with that all the time. Just I'm very happy with my partner, also because we laugh a lot of
mm,
many things, and I really have the impression that I'm fully myself with him in the good and bad stuff, and the same for him. And I think this is one of the essential relationship, like we can have as partner, as friends, as family members. Just being aware of what you are, and trying not to judge, as we try not to judge emotions, like bad and good. They are all emotions, we don't have to judge them. The same with yourself. And it's always easier to start with the physical stuff. I have a 12 or 13 shoes number. I'm not going to change it, and I'm going to have a surgery to have a smaller fit. It's impossible. So it's also the same with the component of my physical and psychological way of being. I'm like that, so it's easier to accept what you have, more than trying to change or to hide, because the more you hide stuff, the more it's evident to the others, and it
Mm.
also can be a weapon against you. For example, I'm bald. I'm having a cap right now because it's called home, but I'm bald. And for many years I tried to hide it and to have my hair longer, to just because I didn't want people to see it, and everybody could see it. And when someone told me, "Oh, you're getting bald," I was like, "Oh, why? This is awful. You're attacking me." And this is a reality, you know. And now I'm assuming it. I'm shaving all the time, and now I can make jokes about being bald because this is me. And if I make joke about that, I'm allowing you to make joke about that. But this is me, and 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 it's not even an insult, because if I make fun of that, it means that I don't really care about that, because I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to go to Turkey to have a surgery, to have a long, beautiful hair. So this is kind of the same kind of idea that you can apply to many fields of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So David, I'm also like we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but we've really talked a lot about the laughing backpack and the travel. But like what have you done since? Because I know we talked about it off air, but I think it'd be really
Yeah,
great to hear because like you've kind of like pulled it all together now. Like we know you're a teacher, we know you've done the laughing backpack, clowning, comedian, actor. So what's it
many
all look like?
things.
Yeah.
I don't like to stay home and get bored. After the laughing backpack, I had some issues to be back to real life. A friend of mine is gonna be very mad at me because he said the laughing backpack was your real life. You were breathing, you were living. It was not a fake life. But you've been traveling, so you know that it's real life. But there is another real life, with a rent, with a house, with taxes to pay, and it's another dimension. So I had some issues to be back to, because I needed time to understand what kind of life I really wanted to. Because when you live this kind of experience, even when you stay 3 months in Palestine and you meet these incredible people, you cannot be the same after that.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is no impact on yourself, it's like, okay, I've been on vacation, I've met some Palestine people, I took some picture, I'm a nice person, but then you be back to another life, and it's like it hasn't happened, and it's impossible because you met these people, they changed something in you,
Yeah.
and you have friends, and we are talking about friendship, about human links and relationships. It's impossible that's to change your life. So
Yep.
after the world tour was supposed to be 1 year, so I had like a couple of years, 3 years, to think about what I really wanted to do. And also I've been lucky because the clowning stuff opened a lot of doors. And they called me from, I went to Russia with Patch Adams, as I said before. Then they thanks to also the magic, Instagram and Facebook, that people that you don't know can discover what you do, and they start chatting with you, and then they invite you for something that was incredible. So I've traveled to Egypt to make a clowning festival for a couple of years. I went to India a couple of years also to make clown and drama workshop everywhere. So I was, because I'm from Paris, so I was traveling back to Paris to write my book, and then I was going to Egypt and then back to France, and then again. So like for a couple of years, I was traveling. I went to Jordan. I went to many places, and I've met incredible people, always with the same laughing, clowning slash project. And at some point, I discovered art therapy, and art therapy was like, wow, this is it. So the thing I've been doing for a couple of years, it has a name. It can be a profession. There is some studies for that. There is a master for that, and I was like, this is what I want to do. So I've started researching of what art therapy could be. And all the stories incredible from the 50s, the 60s in the US, in the UK, but even earlier in France with crazy woman in a French Parisian hospital that, one doctor said maybe they're not crazy, maybe they need something else. Maybe we could use drawings to make them express and to understand what they are feeling, because we are giving them a lot of drug and they are kind of zombie, but we don't know what's happening to their life, and they cannot be in a room waiting for death. So it's an incredible journey, and so I decided to study that because it was like mixing all I was living, and also to use philosophy, psychology, sciences to understand what I was doing, because all the first years of clowning and I was not conscious of what I was doing, and I was also scared to go too deep, too far, to get into. But if you are conscious of what you can do, and the weapon and the tool that is it, you can you can go deeper, and you can really have, because the clowning stuff is nice, but it's 5 minutes, 5 hours, one day. But that's also why I wanted to stop traveling, because it's a magic moment, but then you leave the people behind, and there is no catch up, there is no follow up. And when you discover how deep and how big it can be on a weekly basis,
Mm.
it's like wow.
Yeah.
So I decided to study this master. I came back to Spain because there was like three cities in Spain where I could do it. I chose Seville because I've been living here for a couple of years, 10 years ago. And I've been enjoying for 2 years because this master was incredible. I discovered many things in psychology and in many fields. And I had I needed a lot of time to understand what was art therapy, also because at the beginning it was kind of clear: art therapy, therapy, art. Okay, we can use art for therapy. But then the more I was studying it, what is it about? And all my friends were asking, "What are you studying?" Like, but are you a psychologist? No, I'm not. Do you do therapy? No, I don't. But what are you doing? And then I really started to understand when we did our training out of the school, and I've started working in a jail. I was full of ideas, of cliche about stereotypes about jail, because I only saw jails in on TV. So bad guys, bad smell. Bad smell is real. Prison are very disgusting. But it wasn't. I still work in the jail once a week, and I don't do I don't do clowning. I do art therapy.
Hmm.
Humor and laughter is still there because it's the first connection.
Oh, for
It's also
sure. Yeah.
my passport. When jail is one of the most ugly place in the world, because it's never very clean, and it's so because it's full of boreness, of nothing happens, of
Yeah.
routines, but bad
Yeah.
routines, and there is no human relationship, there is no links, then the family is outside. Sometimes the relationship with the family is very bad, so it's
Mm.
kind of an accumulation of very bad things. And art therapy can help, because art therapy is using art. I'm most into painting, drawing, and art, and drama stuff, because this is my people can do it with music, with instrument, with many things. But my field is more scenic stuff and art stuff.
Yeah.
It's whatever you cannot express with words.
Mm.
You can express it through arts. And for the last couple of years, I'm working in jail, but with people with mental health issues. So they are in a double jail, the physical one and the mental one.
Mm.
And 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 it's not easy to get close to these people at the beginning, because they are they are kind of cut off of the rest of the society and of
For
the family
sure.
also. And they
Yeah.
even have issues to understand what's happening with them, because mental health many times mean drug addiction, and then drug addiction to some felony, and some felony to jail. And it's a horrible circle, which is very and you're not a human being anymore, because everybody wants you far away from them, because they are scared. You are
Mm.
also scared of yourself.
Mm.
So if one hour and a half per week, they can discover that they can do things, they are good at things, they can paint, they can write, they can sing, they can dance, they can be free. The best compliment that I had in these 3 years working in the jail is when they say at the end of the workshop, I forgot I was here.
Mm.
I felt free for an hour. I was laughing. I was not thinking. And I go home and I'm very happy because this, and as you said before, it's not only about these 5 minutes or this hour they spend, is some tools that they give, because after the activity you say, okay, have we been learning today? What did you discover about yourself? What
Yeah,
can
that's
you do?
right.
And then and every week, if you insist on that, they discover small thing, and they understand that there is some little, because our therapy, the is I think therapy is not the good word for what we do, because we are not therapists. The only thing that we do is using art to express yourself and to put the light, to put the focus on some stuff that you have to fix or to organize. And
Mm.
then the job is yours. I cannot do it for you.
Yeah.
So, but I'm giving you some tools, and I, because we've been working there for 3 years, I'm going with a good friend of mine, and we know some men who went out the jail and could use these little tools, um, even for a moment, even where they were about to fall again or to do something bad again. They remember that they've been building something. They've
Mm.
been trying to make their life better in a very simple way. So we give them like little messages, little tools that they can use after in their life.
Amazing. What a journey since I met you.
I think the biggest gift that I made to myself was this journey, this travel, because before that I was like everyone, full of ideas, of stereotypes, and full of fears also. I was scared of many things. And now, and I know you know what I mean. um when you've been in Palestine, when you've been in Kenya, when you've been in India, you met real people,
Mm.
and you've been living with them,
Yeah.
and you see that there is no differences between us. We all look for the same: having a shelter, having people around us, loving us, having food, and meeting with your friends, and having parties. And party can be anything but this is the and we all share the same values. Then colors change, religion, traditions, but even in the tradition, even in the religion, you see the same path,
Of
the same kind of
course. Yeah.
celebration. And when I turn on the TV, and or when I have conversation with some friends or some people, and we're still talking about differences between one from Seville and one from Madrid. I cannot even imagine from one from here and one from South Africa. And that's the magic of traveling. I really invite people to travel,
Mm.
but to travel in not just to have time with the people.
Yeah, that's
um
right.
because we are all the same. It sounds like I'm living in a Barbie world, but it's real.
No,
you
yeah. Yeah.
you and there is mean guys, bad guys, good guys, wonderful guys. There is all of everything everywhere, and it's exactly the same. And we, this kind of little army of people like us that have been traveling and living abroad even for 2 months, we are responsible of sharing that.
Yeah.
um, because even when you speak with people, it's not the same that watching a documentary on TV and talking about people from another country. It's not the same if you say, "I met there. This is as you do on the social. This is my friend. He has a name. He has a face. He has a profession. He has some character. He has some qualities. And as making people real, people understand that we are all the same, and that we are one humankind. The separation between us are political decision,
Mm.
historical decision. It's incredible that still in 2024, with all the the information that we have, the story that we have, and the easy, it's very easy to study something about. When I was younger, if I wanted to know something about a country, I had to go to the library. I had to find like 50 books to understand and make resume and summary and try to understand and to decode.
Yeah.
But if I was too lazy, I couldn't do that. Although the library was very far. But right now,
Or the book
I
was out
can.
of date like 1 year later, you know?
Yeah, yeah, also that. But right now, you go online, and if
Yeah.
you know how to
And it's
search,
live. Yeah, you can see a
you
live
can be
update of,
an expert. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's
yep.
why the more we could know, the less we know.
It's
So
true.
that's why, and that's also why we had a quick connection, the two of us, is because we believe in education. Education is for me, education is everything.
Yep.
Education at home, society education, family education, school education, but we can see how, and it's not, and education doesn't stop at 15 or 16 or
That's
18.
right. Yeah.
It's a life process. We always have to be to understand, to learn, to study. It's incredible. That's why all my life I will try to have some link with education, because this is the clue of everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that as well. I think that that's such a beautiful way to represent that too. It's our responsibility, I think, to educate
It
ourselves.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, and many times I say, oh, there's a lot of ignorance, and there is a lot of, but the first step is to start with yourself,
Yeah.
and when you, and even me, I've been traveling for 3 years, and in 3 years I was like a happy flower man. Like everything was cool. Don't be like that. Don't be mean. I stopped to eat meat, and I was like living a magic dream. But it was not my real life, because I was not paying taxes, I was not paying a rent, I was not with the daily life. When you are tired, when you have, and sometimes you are victim of your daily life. And you never step out to say, oh, take it easy. So during 3 years, I was sharing a lot of positive vibes, but they were not that real, because I was just living in the wonderful world. And then I have this kind of transition, like who I am, what I'm gonna do. I wanna have again a beautiful job that I had before, earning a lot of money, but putting that from aside, or I'm always gonna live like a hippie all my life with my backpack and staying 1 month in an Indian house because they host me, and then 3 months in Bangladesh because they host me. But I'm not really enjoying my life as a human being, because my friends are
Mm.
far, I have no love
Mm.
affair, whatever. So I try to combine both of them, and now, so what I was saying at the beginning is that even now in my daily life, I have to sometimes step back and think, and try to say, for example, here there is a big community of gypsies, for centuries, and there is a lot of stereotypes on gypsies, and this is a community that I had also ideas, but I didn't know many things of them, and I'm working with them a lot right now. But I'm reading, I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to see documentary, to speak with them, because I have to learn on them, because I didn't know anything about that. So it's always a process of my first reaction is maybe distance, or maybe, oh my god. Mm, but then taking the time to step back and to understand, and try to study, and to educate yourself on the new stuff.
I think you've just captured something that's so important as well, because I know we're both educators, we've both worked in education, and we both work with people, I guess, that essentially would receive a service from us. Like we provide services to people.
Yeah,
But what I think is really important, and I think you've captured that so well, is we are constantly learning, and that's you have to be open to learning when you are an educator or a service provider. Like I think I've learned the most from teaching than I ever taught. Like I think I learned more from my students than I taught
of
them.
course, of
And like
course.
even now, like I work with a lot of organizations and people working in trauma, and they're asking me to come in and teach them something about that, or to support them with an issue. But I'm constantly taking their context and learning from them and reading about them, and finding out and hearing their stories and putting it all together to learn more and create more. And yeah, I think that sometimes educators don't view things that way though. But I'm sure even for you, like for example, our time in Palestine, I learned the most in my life, I think, in that few months of living there, than I
Yeah.
taught. There's no way I taught my students as much as they taught me.
And it's kind of an exchange. I can understand education without the exchange idea, because as you said, we learn a lot from kids, from teenagers, from all the kind of people we are facing every day. And if you always have to keep this open-minded state of I'm going to share what I know, but you have plenty of stuff to share with me. And it's of course, when you're working with kids, there is kind of a difference of experience, of age, but
Mm.
it's not because I've been living more than you that I know more than you. And you have your background, and it's so rich. Sometimes it can be just one word, one thing. When one 3 years old kid tell you something about, we've been working on Rothko paintings the other day, and it was just about colors, to recognize the color, because they're 3 years old and don't speak English. And one of them just get through the board, and I was projecting the picture of the painting, and he said angry. And I was, what? He said, angry, angry. And we have some signs to express emotion. And I was in my, today it's Colors Day, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And what color is it? What color? And this little guy just came through close to the board, and was explaining to me that this painting was expressing, or was making him feel like angry. And it
Mm.
was like, wow. And from so I let it speak. And then all the other guys, and the girls of the class, they started to copy. And it was like happy, sad, and 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 from colors, my lesson were to emotion. And I cannot say in that, no, it's not the moment, we are not talking about emotion, we are talking about colors. Say it again, Yago, what is the color? And I was like, oh yeah, I and it's a tiny example, but it's
Mm.
the spirit that we have to have always. And it's also richer like that, because otherwise, I think that as soon as you think that you can do something, there is two options: or you keep on learning to do it better, or learn new tools, or you have to change. Because if you know that you can do perfectly something, I think you're lost,
Oh, for
because
sure.
everything is always moving, everything is always updating. It's like being an actor and saying, I can do anything, I'm ready. It's not true. It's impossible. You cannot do
Yeah.
that. And it's the same for everything. For relationship changes, your parents are getting older, and you don't have the same relationship that you had when you were 5, when you're 15. The more they get older, the more you are the responsible one. So everything is always changing. So you cannot
Mm.
be still and say, I know how it
Yeah.
works. I know who you are. Because even me, a lot of psychologists tell you that you don't have to judge yourself for something that you did in the past, because that you is not the you that you are right now.
Mm.
you,
Yep.
you you were full of condition at that time. So right now, you are different. Of course, you are the same one, but there is some differences between your 2005 one and the one that you are now. So because everything is always changing, you have to update yourself and to be open to changes. And I think this is the key to be aware and happy also, because otherwise you don't understand what's changing, you don't want to see the change, and you get more conservative, more
Mm. Mm.
in your closet, that no, I don't understand that, I don't want to see that.
Yep. Yep. Change
I
is the
speak a
only
lot.
certainty. Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
loving it. I
I'm
actually
Italian, my family's Italian, so we always speak a lot. They're like, I've been speaking too much, I'm so
Oh
sorry,
no,
but it's
I
so
could
late.
I could ask you to talk all night, honestly. Well, all morning for you, but all night for me. But I
Sorry.
guess we are probably coming close to the time that we should be wrapping up the
Yeah.
episode. And I did let you know that I do ask every guest 5 questions at the end of a podcast. So are
Uh-huh.
you ready?
I'm ready. Fully
Awesome.
ready. Let's
The
go.
the first one is, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Oh, I wanted to be an actor.
Oh, well, there you go.
Then I forgot about that. I was like, no, it's impossible. And then I forgot that I forgot the idea. And then when I discovered it back, I was like, Oh, and all my family, like the friends of my parents, were like, "But you always been acting when you were a kid." I was like, "Oh, really?" And I had picture and videos, and I just forgot. So I wanted to be an actor. So I'm almost
Yeah, I love that
realized
you've
that.
incorporated it in everything that you do.
Yeah, yeah.
The second question is, what are your two top values?
Oof. Um, I could say love and laughter, but I think it's more love. No, love and laughter is good. I was saying love and respect, but it's so me and so linked to to everything I did in my life and what I try to do, and they are my weakness and my powers, my balance. So yeah, love and laughter,
I
and
love
I don't
that.
think so.
And I feel like
Yeah,
respect is woven in. Like, you can't really love
love.
without respect.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And the same with laughter.
Yeah,
If we have a
true.
contract, if we have a respect, and if I know you and you know me, I can make fun of you in some point that you let me to do because we have this respect to each other. If I mock you, and there is no respect, and it's not laughter
Mm,
anymore. It's just bullying or whatever, but it's not laughter.
that's true. Yeah, that's cool. The third one is pretty fun, and it actually gets added to a playlist that I have.
Uh huh.
But this question is, if you were going to have a boxing fight, what would be your walkout song that they play as you're walking out to the ring?
Oh, I love this question. That's a cool one.
The playlist is
Uh,
so crazy. Like, it varies so much. So I'll send you a link.
Oh yeah, yeah, I want that. Maybe a song of Tina Turner. Because she's always like River Deep Mountain High, or you simply, I don't know, because she's always so full of energy, so full of power, so full of I can with everything that she gives me this kind of big power in 3 minutes. So yeah, so probably one other song. Yeah.
That is so cool. Do you know what's really interesting is, like, this is the 24th episode. So, like, you're the,
Uh-huh.
24th person I've asked these questions to. And you're the second person to say Tina Turner. But
Really?
I've had a couple of repeats of, like, some people have said the same song or the same artist. So I'm getting
Uh-huh.
really curious about this. But you're the second
That's
person to say
crazy.
Tina Turner.
You should make a ranking about that after though. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Crazy.
think I should.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Incredible.
The fourth question is, if you could collaborate with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oof. 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 Um the list is huge. The list is very huge. Um maybe my there is full of famous name coming through my mind, but actually it would have been my grandmother. She passed away one year and a half ago. She was almost my mother, and she's been my teacher for many years. My life teacher, my and she was very curious. She could go to school like till 9 or something like that, 8 years old or 9 years old. She has to be a woman very quick, and she get married very quickly, like as many women in the world. But she was always curious. She went to France when she was 19. She was pregnant. She was recently married. She didn't know a word of French. She had to start working. I mean, she's a hero. She's a hero. But I would, knowing what I know now, and having the tools that I have now and the job that I have, I would love to take her with me, because she always had these really quick and deep, link with the people. She never spoke a perfect French. She invented a lot of words, but she could have a relationship with anyone. And she was very wise about life, about human being. She could have kind of a witch power of understanding people. Sometimes I am introducing a new friend. She was like, "Oh, I love her. I love him." Or I don't like. And why? I don't know. There is some, and she couldn't express really what she was feeling about this person, but she was always kind of having a feeling about people, and she was into life, into laughter, into discovering, into enjoying. And she started to die when her life was empty of all those stuff, because she was by
Mm.
herself. And I would have loved to work with her, because she was how do you say that, She sew, so she make costume and clothes and stuff. And when I was a kid and a teenager, I could order anything I wanted. I could see a picture of someone of the TV show Beverly Hills. I say, I want this shirt, and she could find the fabric and make the shirt in like 2 days. So for
Amazing.
me, so right now with my job, having someone who could do any costume that I desire could be absolutely magic. So as an assistant, to come with me to have a connection with people and to make all this crazy costume, that could be amazing.
Oh,
And
she
obviously
sounds
there was a
incredible.
yeah, she was magic. And I've been very lucky because after the world tour, I had no money, obviously, and she was living alone in a big apartment, and I stayed with her for a couple of years, coming and and she understood what I was doing because my grandma lived the war and very sad episodes in her life, so she knew how important it was to have a stable work and have stable incomes and having a stable life to avoid all the problems she had. So at the beginning, she was not into this trouble at all. I had a crazy job with a lot of money going through. So she was like, "Are you crazy?" But when I came back with her to live with her, and I've stayed with her, and the first 3 months I stayed home with her, and I was sharing all because the first year, okay, so how was it? Tell me. I cannot tell you 1 year of experience in a conversation. So it was like every day a little bit, and every time I was sharing something with her, she was like, "Oh, the same as us. Oh, have you been learning about recipes in Palestine? How do they do the bread?" And the question was always about food, about how they do bread, how they wear, and this kind of comments about this experience was magic. So yeah, it
Oh,
could
it's
have been
so
great to
cool.
collaborate with Francesca.
Yeah, well,
Magic.
it sounds like you sort of did in a way anyway, like just in
Yeah,
life. Yeah, and living with
yeah,
her in that
yeah.
way. Yeah, it's cool. All
It's
right,
true. It's true.
the fifth and final question is if you could make one recommendation as a step that anyone can take towards healing, what would it be?
Mm, uh, I think it's intimate time. Uh, don't be afraid to deep into yourself and to be with yourself even for 5 minutes. I'm into writing. I'm always writing a lot of stuff, but people are into singing or drawing. But um, just let yourself offer yourself time to be with yourself and to really think how I feel, even basic stuff. How do I feel? Close my eyes, listen to music, to have this time for yourself, just not to make big changes, but to make some checks on you, and because the more you spend time with yourself, the more you discover you are and what you want. And it's never too late to change, and it's not about big changes, I mean, but sometimes just one little change in your life can help you for many things. For example, I have a bike, and I have been using it for many months, for many years, and it was my vehicle to go anywhere. But now it was kind of winter. It was cold, so I'm taking the bus, and you have to wait for the bus and blah blah blah. And yesterday I took my bike again, and I was so happy to be with my bike. I was like a 5 years old, going like crazy in the streets with my music, and I know it's forbidden, but and with no helmet, but whatever. But it's a little change that can help me for more. So as much time that you have with yourself, you can understand if you're going on the good path, if you're happy with what you're doing, and but if you're always on a rush and always because it's not. I always get mad when I hear people say I have no time. It's impossible
Yeah.
because even to go to the restroom, you need at least 10 minutes a day. So maybe these 10 minutes a day, you can use them to think about yourself, to check on you. Am I happy? Am I sad? And not judging you, but just and if you give you these 5 minutes a day, even brushing your teeth, but
Mm.
we always can find time.
Hmm.
Even the surgeons, even people who are really working on something urgent and some in saving lives, even then they have to go to the toilet. So even then they could have these moments. And sometimes I I I I tried for many years to meditate. I'm not good at it at all. I've tried many ways: music, not music; sleeping, not sleeping. It's not working with me. But even these 5 minutes a day, it's kind of a meditation because it's your little bubble, and you can just check on you. And I think that's the first step to be more confident and happier in your life, and then see if you have some stuff to heal and to change, and if you need some people to help you or not. There is many ways, regarding what we said before about this life of connection and wiseness and information. There is many ways of being healed by yourself, with music therapy, with a psychologist, with by traveling, by working around, by there is many ways, and many people like you also. So that could be my tip.
I love that because it is absolutely accessible for anyone, no matter who they are, where they are, what they're doing. So yeah, that's a really good one.
And also trying always to find people like you, people sharing the same values, the same, because there is many people as you, as me, as there is always communities. And when you look a little bit, it opens many doors. I mean, I met you, but then I've met you again in your land, and then we met another Palestinian friend, and then because this friend was another connection friend, and at the end you build a web
It's
of of
true.
of of incredible people, like not incredible people like you, but people connected and with the same values, the same ideas, same goals, and it's incredible, and you don't feel alone, and
Mm,
right now we are doing something very nice and very important, and maybe it's going to help just one person listening to us. It's wonderful because then this person is going to speak to someone else and to someone else, and there are little seeds that you can spread away, and that's magic.
yeah, that's such a good way of looking at it. I love that. Thank you so much, David. That's so
Thank
good.
you.
Before
Thank
we
you.
wrap up though, I just wanted to check because this is like I feel like a bad friend here. I did not know about the book.
uh
Is
it's upstairs. I will share to you one day.
is there an English version?
No, I've been writing it in French. Then all the book houses and stuff. Oh no, it's not interesting. It's not so French. Whatever, you don't want you. Okay. So I decided to translate into Spanish, and here I found someone who just fell in love. And I've studied the English version, but as you understood, I have not a lot of time to sit and to do it properly, but I will do someday because
Okay.
it's not a big book. It's like 180 pages or something like that. So at some point,
All
I
right.
should do it. I
Well,
will do it.
when it happens one day, I'll promo it around. So if people have listened and one day in the future they want to check back in, I'll definitely
Yes,
promote it
yes.
around.
Also because the book is upstairs, but also because the cover of the book is one picture that I took when I was in Palestine. One
Oh,
day that we
cool.
went, we were painting schools,
Yeah.
and
Ah, I
I
think I remember that day. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and there was this little blonde guy with a lot of hairs all, and the picture is crazy because we don't see his face but just the hair, and with the colors and the sun and whatever, and I've been asking to the association we've been working with in Palestine if I could use the picture, and so I discovered that this boy was named Youssef or Yusuf, I don't remember exactly, and I was so happy that because I gave different pictures to the house, and they chose this one. I was so happy. So it's also a way to make everything connected and to have a sense.
That's so cool. Yeah, I can't wait to check it out. But if people did want to like look into the Laughing Backpack or any of your work, is there a way that they can find out about you that I can share?
The easiest way is to go on my Instagram,
Yep.
because I had a website for some years, but it was very expensive, and I was not working enough to pay the website, and I said okay. So everything is I have some videos on YouTube, but the easiest way is to check my Instagram. There is some
Cool.
videos and picture about all that, and also what I'm keeping on doing.
All right, I'll put some links in the show notes.
Merci beaucoup.
Is there anything else you wanted to say before we
No,
wrap up?
just thanking you to for the idea, for the invite, for everything. I'm very happy to share that with you. And as I said before, I'm very happy when you see that you've been creating relationships and links at some point of your life, and they are still there, and they are supposed to
Mm.
be there for forever. And also when we share this kind of stuff, that's and even more when we work into education, we work for these kind of values, and it's very nice to know that in Australia, I don't know how many miles away from here, there is someone that thinks like you, and in many countries all around, and it's wonderful to spread just positive thinking.
It's
uh
such a cool message to end on. It really is. Because honestly, like
yeah.
when I think about your like analogy here about the web, it's almost like the web, the part of our web that's connected, it just
Mm.
gets a bit bigger. Like that part gets bigger, and
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know where it branches out from there. And yeah, even as you were saying, like we had a Palestinian friend who, like, I hadn't met him in Palestine, but I met him in Australia through you, and now we're still all connected and we all still talk. And he's been on the podcast, and it's just
That's
amazing
why
because
that's why it's amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and then I was telling you before that a British teacher that we both know is living not far from you now, so there's another
I have to check
web.
on that. I have to
Yeah.
check. It's incredible,
Yeah,
incredible.
it's so cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'll stop recording
Thank you
here.
so much. Thank you.